Yo! I'm not exactly happy to see him specifically, but ain't that like freaking... God, what was his name? It was like a disease, wasn't it? Salmonella! That was his name, wasn't it? The director dude. That's neat. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over, but I'm Miles Edgeworth and I wait for no one. And thanks to Miss Rhoda and Miss Meal, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Miss Rhoda in private. So I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Miles Edgeworth. That's freaking... That's Franziska! Yo! Yo! Oh, I'm actually happy to see her. She's a weirdo, but I like her. She's nice. In a relative sense. When she's not hitting people, she's nice. It's weird defending her. I don't know how to do it. Franziska? I thought you were still in Germany. I go where I am needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma. Perfection in every way is her game. The daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. Are you now? Agenbruggen, why? It's quite frustrating, actually. I had hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue. But I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day when a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? It's all been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding? I mean, sure, you're basically my adoptive brother, so you'd assume I would have just kind of listened to you, at least by principle, but what if I didn't do that? I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? I mean, no, but at the same time, you know, whatever. I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I have investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you, of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is what all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I'd be down for that. I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Aww, I was actually hoping we could team up. That'd be really fun. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I have no intention to. Detective Gumshoe! Yes, sir! It's the gum! Too slow! Listen up. I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand? Mr. Edgeworth, I'm supposed to guard him? A simple yes or no, detective. Yeah, yes, sir, understood, sir. You just leave it to me. Miles Edgeworth, if you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me, she really does just straight up do the little bow thing. That is amazing. I love that these guys is like actual, you know, courtroom quirks or things they do on the daily in other places. That's so funny to me. Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay. Thank you, detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. I have to admit, I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. And I'll just walk slightly closer to you before I ask them. What you got to say about this? So how is the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. And we're taking statements now, sir. Sounds like Franziska. She was always good at a quick response to a case. I'd say she was, a little too quick, sir. Oh? How so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something, and had come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Gonna have to probably investigate that noise. This fun karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident. No details? It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Oof! Although, I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation. Starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. Alright, and we've got ourselves a gumshoe! Yay! Friendship! Anyway, so what's the haps over here? This child seems to be happily enjoying the sight of so many planes. Planes, trains, and automobiles. I'm all excited to see this many planes too. Just look at the size of these things. You like planes too, mister? The balance between the main wings and the tail wings is really something, huh? Seems that this child derives his pleasure from a different aspect. Oh, but I've got a thing for the shape of the wings too. Here, mister, you can stand next to me. So about that plane's wing. Thank you, Detective, for leaving me out of this conversation. Alright, you still talking leet speak, my dude? Looking from behind, I think I've seen this man somewhere before. Nom nom nom. In Soviet Russia, world flag lunchboxes eat Jew. Nern. And, exasperated emoticon. Mr. Edgeworth, you gotta get him some water. Found it, lol. Oh, I feel a wave of creative powers coming on. It's over 9,000, lols. Man, you are just made of old memes. For my next Leet movie, it's gonna be the Steel Samurai, Warrior of Neo-Old Tokyo versus the World Samurai, Champion of Earth. It's gonna rock soars so many boxers. I don't even know what that's. I don't know what that was supposed to mean back in the day. Good thing it was a false alarm, right, Mr. Edgeworth? So, the Steel Samurai is finally getting a movie. Completely ignoring me as usual. What about you, Sleepy Joe? This man was in first class with me. He was quite shaken up by the whole affair. I'd be pretty scared too if I got caught up in a murder investigation, sir. I did it. I made it the whole flight. I'm not scared of turbulence anymore. This life vest is proof I made it alive. It's now my prized possession. How could you just take that from the plane? It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. It's got nothing to do with the murder, at least. That's true. That means it's none of our business. Fair and dandy. So, what's this all about? Lunchland. Not bad. I guess it's gotten big enough to warrant its own branch. Wait. Oh, I've always wanted to give their steak lunch a try. Dang, doesn't that mean the box lunches from, what's-her-face? I don't remember her name. Oh, come on, I can remember Salmonella, but hang on, no. Angel Star? Was that who that was? You know, the lady with the box lunches. Did she actually, go, big time? That'd be pretty neat. Which one should I go with? I recommend our airport special, World Flags lunchboxes, only available for a limited time. We have a variety of lunchboxes made up to look like different countries' flags. If you really want that one that badly, Detective, why don't you go ahead and buy one? Is that okay, sir? Thanks. All right, then I'm really gonna get one. Here I go. Excuse me, miss. I'll take a Star-Spangled Banner lunchbox, please. I hope he's aware that that's the most expensive one on the menu. He doesn't. All right, so I guess that's all there is. Anything else going on around these here parts? Friggin' 19. Oi. 24, 62, 24, 28. Ugh! Gumshoe, my friend, you're still older than me, right? Yeah, you're 32. Just barely. Okay. You gotta take what you can get. You really do. Okay. No. 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 Up. In. Thank you. The touchscreen controls are a little weird. Anyway, what's all this about? So, you must be the captain. Yes, I am. Who might you be? I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain, getting friendly with another woman. I'll never forgive you if you do. What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear Captain to be much of a reputable person. Reputable, whatever. Sure, you don't want to ask the Captain some questions, sir? He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I'd like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip. Yeah, she's better at it than I am. Hey, there it is. That flinch, though. Hey, better them than us. Ah, he's still here. That's delightful. Everybody's happy about that. Now see here! Ah! Sorry, I'm sorry. How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you. Mr. LeBlanc. Oh, it is you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend. All right, you got anything new to say, Gummy? Just throwing that out there. You notice anything? Anything of interest, Detective? Well, I can say that I don't quite know everything about the situation yet. So I was just telling myself that I should go ask someone about the stuff I don't know. I mean, just because I don't know it doesn't mean someone else might not know it, right? Must be my imagination, but for a second I think I actually understood his logic. It's technically not inaccurate. You'll love to see it. All right, and there you go. Did you finish taking his statement yet? Yep, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. He wants his cargo back. Cargo back. Sometimes his car goes back too far and it breaks his rear view mirror. If you make a single scratch on my art, you will pay. Art? What sort of art? Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of art. Folk costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Hey-oh! 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 Hey, what do you got to say about this anyway? Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me? It's a Borginian cloth. As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose. Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous, orders come from over the seas for more. Interesting, interesting. Then, this is the cargo you were talking about earlier? No. My cargo this time is much, many gigantic. You, detective, when can I have my cargo moved? You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal. The stubbornness of you police is to no good. And it is no good that attendants refuse to exit the attendance room too. That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Miss Rhoda. Seems possible. What do you gotta say about her any ding-dang way? What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc? She was taken into the attendance room for her interview. And they still make no come out. They make no sign of coming out either. Yes, whatever. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her. Why is Miss Rhoda's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Francisca has returned! Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Rhoda. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant's room. Before I do, you still have to clear a few issues surrounding your own circumstance. Do I, though? Do I really, though? I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Oi, we really gotta go ahead and do this. All right. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered. All right, but I already know that that's not the thing, though. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect, whatever, doesn't matter. The point is, I'm right, you're wrong, neener. The likeliest suspect, Francisca. Do you have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you to use such a vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Well, you're not exactly known for it. Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break your line of logic fast. All right, well, I already kind of figured out with that whole thing. She said that it had to have taken place in the lounge, and we already proved, very likely at the very least, that that is completely impossible. So I think I need this? Or would I be doing... Would it be that or that? No, because I'm pretty sure the suitcase is what's the definitive evidence, yeah? Well, the music stopped, so Smug. It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. Which, to be fair, you've only been on this case for like 2.5 minutes, so... And what does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location! Listen to my awesome theme music! Rockin'! The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body. Meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all. Now who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions? You, I would imagine. But sure, I'll humor you. What up? All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose the suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth. I expected you would come to that conclusion. But listen to this beat! See, now I imagine it's Gumshoe playing the song right now in the background. I don't know why, but that mental image is really funny to me. It would seem I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Von Karma is perfect in every way. Ah, but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point? As if there is proof of that. I think I've got that. Where's the proof that the suitcase was moved around? It would have... Assuming I can, like, point out the liney-doos. Spilled grape juice in front of the elevator? Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where's the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? Right thereabout! This mark here. Wouldn't you say that it looks suspiciously like tracks from 2 wheels? I suppose. Further, there's also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase, which I didn't actually know that part, but it stands to reason, and I'm glad that Edgeworth bothered to figure that out before I did. Haha! This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad you've come to your senses. And it's never over when it's over. Not so fast. That still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot. Pardue! Francisca's Logic Part 2. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit the turbulence. Also, I just... Yeah, okay, sure. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from and pretended to be the discoverer of the body. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly. The I fly! Eh! Just what are you insinuating? We'll let you pull that completely out of your butt. Then I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in our logic in one fell swoop. Okay, so... Correct me if I'm wrong, and I could be wrong. I'm not exactly the brightest lad. But didn't we already discover the whole taken out of its display case in-flight shop after the turbulence? So... yeah, that's not exactly the hardest thing to figure out. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic. Essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Mr. I-Fly piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. Nani? The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important. And it was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then, what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated the weapon. Just rubbed it all up on that wound. I'm sure that would have worked. Looking at it that way, the killer basically did 3 things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick up the bank up from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Oh, so you bludgeoned the corpse with... Oh. Well, that's just not cool. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that it would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks. You there! Yes, ma'am. Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found? We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence, and the remaining items all tested negative for any traces of blood. I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end. But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir. Watanga! If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I'd think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth. Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside the suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene. Objection! What are you objecting to? There is one more possibility, and that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon. But didn't we just... Let me finish! The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see. So that means that the killer had the key to the display case. Francisca, the person you're talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. The sin of sloth? She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. I don't know if that's actually a sin. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wish to speak with her. Yes. Very well, permission granted. But only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other? I feel like you two understand each other better than most. I have no intention of interrogating her, but you're welcome to accompany me if you so wish. Mr. Rhoda is in the flight attendant's room. Let's boogie. Okay. That makes sense. However, if this is going to frame it as a I need to protect Rhoda situation, then doesn't that kind of, like, oh, I didn't even mean to do that. Doesn't that vastly lower the pool of who else could have possibly done this? That said, I would like to go in. Thank you. Thank you. All right, that took a little while. March 12th, 2:23 p.m. It's been a busy day. So you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Miss Rhoda? Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too? Can you please help us and shed some light on what and why you did what you did? All right. First and foremost, Gumshoe, what say thee? What do you know about anything? What are you doing and why are you fidgeting? I've never been on a plane before and I've never been in an attendant's room. Well, even on a normal flight, one would rarely ever need to enter one. I don't know when I'll ever get to be on a plane again, so I want to soak it all in now, sir. Let's see, box full of crowns and a yellow suitcase, and oh, what a great trip. Paging Detective Gumshoe, kindly return to the situation at hand. He is just a big goober face, and he is good. He is a good guy. I like this guy. Wait, sure, who's boss, Mr. Edgeworth? Not even Miss Von Karma's whip is a match for you. You give me too much credit. She simply didn't have all the information. To be sure, the fights will become tougher and tougher as the investigation progresses. That's all right, Mr. Edgeworth. You got me watching you back. I'll make sure to keep on supporting you any way I can. You just say the word, sir. Really? Then how about standing out in front and absorbing whiplashes for me? Ugh. Ugh. Unfortunate. Francisca. Well, go on. Let's hear our troublesome attendant out. In due time, I do have one thing I'd like to ask you. Yes? Do you plan to continue using that whip for the foreseeable future? Yeah. Of course! I've wrangled many a testimony out of people thanks to it. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure, like, bludgeoning testimonies out of people aren't always able to hold up in court. Yeah, and probably a whole ton of yelps. Oh! And I'm willing to bet that the majority of them came from you, Detective. Ugh. All right, then. Explain your face! Oh, she is distraught. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that? Because I didn't think I'd be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Meal. Not a massive surprise. Yes. And on top of that, Francisca's sprite isn't meant to be mirrored like that. Her hair and mole are pointing in opposite directions. I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Rhoda, is it? There's one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why the sudden hesitation? Francisca seems to have struck a nerve. All right, well, you're gonna have to tell us one way or another. All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work, then? Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Miss Rhoda claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. Is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. There's only one thing I can possibly think to ask about, and this is most certainly a thing. If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Rhoda. Oh, that suitcase. Yes, about this suitcase. You were the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else out about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about this suitcase? Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional, I'm not supposed to care, but I really wanted to know. And I was glad to see that it was the last one there. The last one there? There was not but a last one there! That's not a thing! Explain yourself! So you're saying, Miss Rhoda, that the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes, they're just so popular, they're practically flying off the shelves. That's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? Well, I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one. I didn't say anything about buying it. Then say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional. Well, that is, how should I put this? It's hideous. Dang, subtle as a brick to the face. Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on. My issue with the suitcase isn't the design, although I do vastly dislike it. It's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2? But that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like your story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Miss Rhoda, what is one of those suitcases doing here? I thought you said there was only 1 left. And now there are 3? Explain yourself to me. That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now. Well, why's it got a price tag on it? She's used it for a long time? I think not. Miss Rhoda, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. It's, quite frankly, more than slightly rude. Excuse me? I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Miss Rhoda says? The honky-tonkin' friggin' price tag. Mess me with that mess. Miss me with that mess, I say. Tell me, Miss Rhoda, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase? What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase? Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Are you? Oh, that's sad, actually. Miss Rhoda, I think I understand. I know what you're trying to hide. Now then, this suitcase was originally in the in-flight shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still on the suitcase, logically, one can only assume it was on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought this suitcase was thee! And by thee, I mean ye! Ye is thee! Mon ami, it was you, wasn't it, Miss Rhoda? I hate to say this, but this suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Oof. Isn't that right? That the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I'd finally accomplish something. Oh, that's sad. But the suitcases didn't sell. It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous. I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them either. That's true, you know, just because Edgeworth thinks it's ugly, and I don't think it's all that appealing either, it doesn't mean that it, you know, somebody wouldn't want it. It's weird to sell stuff on a plane. They weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there day in and day out. So I decided to buy one for every flight I worked on. You buy one every single time you work a flight? How much do you make? I see. So in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well. Yes, and here's my receipt for that purchase. Well, that's handy. This receipt is clearly stamped 5:40 a.m. That would explain why she was so adamant on the time of the turbulence. Or of that, I mean not the turbulence, but the time, either way. That's why she was able to say that so well, yeah. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Miss Rhoda, where are these other suitcases? They should all be down in the cargo hold. Then the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think the killer used one of my suitcases to... Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to bludgeon them to death! To move the... Alright, that too. To move the victim's body. Ah! How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be. Miss Rhoda, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only way is just through the door, that door there. And what about security? That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special key card that only crew members have access to. Okay, so this just kind of goes in with my prior theory. So basically, this stuff went down in the cargo hold. The only people that can go into the cargo hold are employees. And seeing as how we're going off of the whole, you know, Rhoda, you know, we're clearly trying to defend her and she's not actually the culprit here. That leaves only two possible culprits, the pilot or Camille. And the pilot was flying the entire time, so... I'm just saying. Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects. I can't believe it. Yes, Francisca? Going on these wild goose chases? Why are you chasing so many geese? You're a disgrace to the Von Karma name. And what do you mean by that? The suitcase came from the cargo hold. This fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their key card. Miles Edgeworth! You're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Meal, who constantly is trying to throw Rhoda under the bus, I can't help but note. I asked her earlier, and she had this to say. Francisca got information out of Miss Meal? In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different key card is required. A different one? Yes, And the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhoda. And only you. What? Is this true, Miss Rhoda? Yes. I keep that key card in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yeah, hold on. I don't believe it. What's wrong? The key card, it's gone. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman. Yes, ma'am. Okay, but no. Whoa, hang on, Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face. Francisca, I know that you're the lead investigator on this case. However... Hold it! Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, the basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? Well, if I had to go and reckon a guess, it's probably going to be the exact same thing. I intend to do likewise. Aha! All right, then. Another story piece told. All right. I'm seeing where we're going with all this. I'm curious as to how it all went down, though. That's always a very good sign, I feel. Alrighty then, let us do this thing.